Hello, beauties. Happy waxing half moon to you. This means we're a quarter of the way into the moon cycle, which began on October 8th, 2018. That was last week. And we spoke about then our theme that we're going to be holding for the next year and our particular theme for this moon cycle. So the big theme of the year that we'll be carrying through Wild Woman Fest in August 2019 is called Tiny Revolutions. Really born out of the overwhelm that most of us are experiencing. It seems that every day we're waking up and we're getting more bad news. We're hearing of a new crisis, a new emergency, people that need help. And very little of what we're seeing, we have very much control over. So inspired by a letter that Dr. E wrote, Dr. Estes, that's the author of Women Who Run with the Wolves and a ton of other amazing books. She is our wild woman elder. She's our grandmother. Her identifying the wild woman archetype put it on the map, and we're all standing on her shoulders. And so she wrote this great letter a little while back, instructing, advising for us not to lose heart, to really reach out and try to mend the parts of the world that are within our reach. She said a million other beautiful things within this letter, but that one idea, the part of the world that is within our reach. So here at the project, we're really focusing on that idea. Is like, what do I actually have control over? Where can I actually make a difference? Where can I have a big impact? So moon cycle by moon cycle, we're going to look at different areas of our lives and really be honest with ourselves about how we're showing up. Be honest with ourselves about how we want to show up. Get clear about what our values are in these different areas. And then hopefully live in alignment with those values so that our life is in integrity with our values, with our ideals, so that we are being the change that we wish to see in the world, as Gandhi advised. So this moon cycle, which started with the new moon in Libra associated with relationships, Libra associated with love. And when I say relationships, I'm talking about partnerships. I'm talking about one-on-one relationships. These are the most intimate relationships of our lives. These are our beloveds. These are our best friends. These are our business partners and collaborators. We're looking at those relationships. The dearest of dear ones to us. So on the new moon, we asked you, what are your values? And you may have gone to a Wild Woman Project circle in your local community. You may have downloaded your new moon retreat, all good ways to be guided in coming to those values and making intentions. So if you haven't done that work yet, you still can. And I'll put links below this video on where to look for these things. But hopefully, many of you who are watching have clarified what your values are in these particular relationships. So with the moon waxing, it has a building energy, right? Where this half moon waxing is sitting between the new moon, which is really the planting of the seeds, and the full moon, which is, symbolically this full fruition of the plant. So the space in between really has to do with the tending to and the building of and the caring for. So making sure that our intentions get, these seeds get the light they need. They get the water they need. They're cared for. They're pruned when they need to be pruned. Pruning is more later. We'll talk about later in the cycle. So we're building. We're caring for, we're tending to. So now that we have these values, really want to look at what does that look like lived in. Sometimes we make intentions, it can be make an intention and totally forget about it. Sometimes that really works. And just, you forget about it. And months later, you realize, whoa, that intention came true. But I think with this carrying forward and really trying to get in alignment in these different areas of our life, it's going to take some contemplation and really creativity and structure to help yourself to really live into these values. So I want to share with you a couple of the values which I chose for this new moon. Really thought about my closest relationships. I thought about my love. I thought about my best friends. And I thought about my collaborator. And I thought, what do I want? What's important to me? How do I want to show up? And how do I want to show up has also to do with like how I want to be treated, how I really thrive. And what feels true, what feels like authentic for me in those close relationships. So one of the values I came to was tenderness. So that's like kindness with some sensuality. It's like extra, extra sugar. And tenderness is really important to me. There's like a sense of, holding something the way you would a kitten. I love that. And that feels really right for me. So tenderness is one of my values in those closest relationships. The other is respect. I always want to feel like I really respect you, and I can feel that you really respect me. And it's mutual, and that's aligned, and that's cared for. So these are my values. And I remember I've been in my partnership now for 3 years. And I'm with the love of my life. And I want to grow old with this man. I remember when we were first together about 3 years ago, and we were I was in fall circle leader training for, White Woman Project. And part of circle leader training is that we meet in these weekly telecircles. And it's like an online women's circle. And those are always really profound. Anyone who knows that kind of space knows that those are profound. And I remember coming to the realization very early on that in my partnership with Bennett, my beloved, it was the first time, I'm almost embarrassed to say it, but it was the first time I truly respected my partner through and through. I've been in love before, many, many times, and had respect for certain things about my other partners. But like overall as a human being, I feel total respect for him. And I think that among, a lot of other important things is why I feel the way I feel. Like this is the love of my life. I'm in, forever. Because I respect him and he respects me, and I have to respect him for the relationship to work. And, I thought about, I know that I experience respect for him. But if I'm really honest with myself, my romantic relationships are usually where I get the most sloppy. Like the other relationships in my life, I feel like, I can be aligned and integrity. Yet, I just get sloppier in romantic relationships. What can I say? I'm a human person. And I think that has something to do with you spend so much more time there that your good behavior can get fatigued or whatever. So anyways, he sees like more of me sloppy, I guess you could say. So I thought, I honestly know that sometimes I act and speak as though I don't respect this person who I love and actually do respect. I thought, I really sat with this. Like, what is that? What does that look like? Like, how can I really embody it? And oftentimes it's in the subtleties. So recently he was confiding in me something. Of course, I will not share what it was. But something he's going through, and I'm listening to him. And I love talking about the real stuff, like the inner work of things, the emotional process of things, understanding of our inner worlds. This is my favorite subject of conversation with all the people I love. So he's really opening up about something deep that's happening. And I can feel myself because I'm so excited. I'm like really, really, really excited. And I'm like, yes, because he's bringing voice to things that, intuitively I've been sort of seeing, and I want to affirm him. And every part of me like wants to give him advice. And I know from being in Wild Woman Project circles, I know from being in our spaces, like at Wild Woman Fest, one of our tenets is to not give unsolicited advice. And people ask about that a lot, like, what is that about? So I felt that urge, I want to give him advice, because oftentimes the want to give somebody advice comes from love. You are trying to help. However, I'm watching Bennett, I'm listening to Bennett, and as I restrain myself against giving that advice I so badly want to give, he actually, in his own guidance, follows his own thread and gets to places that are deeper, more clarifying, than anything I could have ever advised. And I sat back as the most I did was, ask a good question. Well, what is that about? Just, allow him to find his own way. And he did, and he got to the deepest, most beautiful place. And it was this beautiful moment for me, not only because he was working through something and he got somewhere, but I got somewhere too, sort of silently inside of my own being, of really having a perfect example of me having enough respect for this person I love who's sitting across from me, to trust that their inner guidance will guide them home. That I don't need to interject. And it's much more powerful when somebody comes to it on their own. And it was. And so for me, I had this, what does respect look like in my closest, most personal relationships? It actually, for me, looks like asking good questions instead of giving advice. Because what that means is I have a respect for the dignity of their soul, the quality of their inner guidance, to take them where they need to go. So that was rich. That was it. That was my value in action, respect in action. So I wanted to tell you this story and talk you through this little bit of, a process that I have gone through in the last week. So that, in case it might be useful for you. So you can look at your values and you go, you really ask yourself, what does this look like in action? You might draw, you might write, you might sit and close your eyes and meditate. You might take that question on a walk through the woods or walk through the park, and allow yourself to be open to receiving the answers as they come in. And they come in so many different ways, in so many unexpected moments. So you might ask the question, and then the next day somebody says something to you and it hits you. That's what kindness is in action. Whatever your value is. So I want to invite you to write in the comments You know, what is your value that you're holding in these close personal relationships, and what does that look like in action? Let's share, let's learn from each other. And let's also know, like, we're all in our own process, and what respect looks like in my relationship and feels like in my relationship, what it looks like in action may be very different than, if respect happens to be one of your values. It might manifest itself very differently based upon who you are, of course. But let's share. What is your value in action? And keep living into it as this moon cycle unfurls. And I think I just want to say a little note about, it doesn't have to be perfect. If I found myself in a moment of disrespect, like I say something flippantly or whatever, and I'm being, accidentally or habitually being disrespectful, and I catch myself, the best thing for me to do is immediately try to turn that around. I think the danger here with anything where you're trying to, improve yourself is that you can beat yourself up a lot. Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it. Just be nice. Be nice. Be nice to yourself. Be nice to yourself. Just turn it around. If you need to say sorry and turn it around, and know that you're learning something new, that you're getting more in alignment with your integrity. And it's going to take practice, and it's a muscle that you have to build, should you desire to build it. So I'm wishing you alignment in your values in those close personal relationships. I want to tell you, I'll link below this video to that original new moon video if you want to watch it. I'm going to link to your new moon retreat if you weren't able to make it to a circle and you want a guided experience. There's a meditation in this retreat. You can download it right now. Guided meditation with me, a new moon magazine that gives all sorts of interesting information, hopefully inspiring information about this new moon and new moon cycle. And most specifically, it gives you some framework for creating your own ritual and framework for creating your own intentions. So you can do that. I know it says new moon time. You can do that at any point. Intention is everything. And action too, obviously. And also, we have circle leader training coming up this fall. We're getting super full. I didn't look at the numbers today, but we're getting there. So if you want a spot in that training, I would recommend doing that now. It's 7 weeks. It's Wild Woman Project Circle Leader training. We dive into the Wild Woman archetype. We dive into facilitation skills so you can go into your local community and start your own circle and create sacred space for people to come home to their own inner guidance and to connect with the natural world and the cycles of the moon. It's very powerful stuff. So it's my favorite thing to do in the fall. So if that calls to you, I hope that you will claim your seat. And I'm wishing you a very, very beautiful week ahead. And I will see you, talk to you, love you up on the full moon.